fund to support a sustained tuition-free scheme for the University of Liberia and all public universities and colleges programs, and the free West Africa Senior School Certificate examinations was for 9th and 12th graders in Liberia, unquote. The report from the Joint Committee comprising committees on judiciary, human rights, claims and petitions, public works and rural development, and public accounts and audits on a golden act to restate and amend an act to establish a national road fund for road maintenance in the Republic of Liberia, unquote, 440. See report from the Joint Committee in Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petitions on the quote integrated fisheries sector, strengthening project financing agreement between OPEC Fund for International Development and the Republic of Liberia. The report from the Joint Committee on Public Accounts and Audits, Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Internal Affairs, Governance and Reconciliation in connection to the auditing of the county development and social funds of Sino County from 2018 to present. A report from the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petitions on asset declaration by the Commissioners of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the LSCC. Several cases of President's Decs, a communication from the President of Liberia Committee, the 2024 Draft National Budget. 8. In our business, a status of the tenure and retirement bill. Talk about Senator Abraham Dollars Dillon of Monrovia County. 9. Adjournment. Is that President Pro Tem? Distinguished Senators, the reader of the draft agenda for the visit.
Distinguished colleagues who have listened to the reading of the provisional agenda for the city, what is the will and pleasure? So, please,
Senator Francis P. of Rivers County, an outgoing senator, will make the motion.
I move if I can obtain a second. I move if I can obtain a second to accept draft agenda we received by the Speaker of the Legislature for discussion.
it has been moved and seconded that a draft agenda be received and open for discussion. All those in favor of the say yea, nay, against. Carry.
Alright folks, welcome. This is Spoon TV coming to you live from the chambers of the Liberian Senate on this special sitting of the Senate. Senator Liberian Senate of Monrovia County will speak as it relates to the agenda.
1. I'd like to note that this is not a regular sitting. This should be the second day sitting in the special session. The agenda capture is in error, and let the Secretariat note that this is not the 58th day sitting, the second sitting in a special session. I want to do.
Yes.
For us to get that clear.
Okay.
Senator J. Milton Tiaji of Sano County
Thank you, President.
wants to speak.
My distinguished colleagues, regarding you have made a lot of attempts to get a report from the Committee on Public Works regarding the status of roads throughout the country. We have not been able to get that report. So I want to ask on AOB if we can get some briefing from the chairman of the Committee on Public Works regarding the status of roads throughout the country. That's my comment.
Meanwhile, Pro Tem, I would like to suggest to plenary that on this agenda, we deal with 7 business owner president desk, receive the communication from the office of the president, quash the rest of the items on the agenda, defer them to the next sitting. We deal only with it. Item 7, business on the president's desk, communication from the president. We deal with that, we adjourn, and defer all the other issues on the agenda.
So that was a suggestion from Senator Brian Dawes, the law which has been endorsed by the body to scratch the issues from the agenda due to the fact that this is a special sitting by the legislature. Now we have the Secretary of the Senate, National Assembly, who is going to read for us the communication from President George Weah.
December 12, 2023, Honorable Abbott T. President Pro Tempore, Liberian Senate in session. Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Mr. President Pro Tempore, subject, submission of the draft national budget for fiscal year 2024 to the National Legislature. Mr. President Pro Tempore and members of the Liberian Senate, pursuant to Section 17.1 of the Public Financial Management Act, I am pleased to submit to the 54th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia the draft national budget for the fiscal year 2024, covering the period January 1, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. I extend sincere apologies for the delay in submission attributed to the national preoccupation and distraction associated with the very competitive elections. Background. This submission, the last of my administration, encompasses estimates of revenue and expenditure that were developed after careful consideration and analysis of the revenue envelope, our non-discretionary obligation, and the realistic needs of the government. Mr. President Pro Tempore and members of the Liberian Senate, while this budget is a reflection of the programs and priorities of the outgoing administration, it should not be unexpected that the incoming administration may institute measures to tweak, recalibrate, or even recast the programs and priorities here to indicate policy change, hopefully in a spirit of continuity in governance. In the wake of mounting pressures, especially national debt burden and recurrent expenditures, on a critical cross-cutting national programs and projects in 3 sectors have been proposed under the Public Sector Investment Program, the PSRP, segment of the budget. Among these is the National Road Fund under the Infrastructure and Basic Services sector. Resource envelope. The estimated total resource envelope for the period is US $625.57 million. Of this amount, 623.14 or 99.61% is projected as domestic revenue, while the amount of US $2.43 million or 0.39% is projected to come from external sources. Proposed expenditure. The total proposed expenditure for fiscal year 2024 is $625.57 million. In consonance with the projected resource envelope, the recurrent component of expenditure is US $594.54 million, or 95% of the total proposed expenditure, while The total cost of public sector investment project is projected to be US 31.03 million, or 5% of the total proposed expenditure. Recurrent budget. The first claims on available resources are focused on those obligatory expenditure categories that must be satisfied. In this regard, the total amount of US 594.54 million earmarked by recurrent expenditure has been allocated and guided by the following order of priority. A. Debt service, domestic and external. B. Compensation for employees. C. Grants. D. Goods and services for education and health sectors. And E. Others. Following is a breakdown of proposed recurrent expenditure by major economic classification in US dollars. Total recurrent expenditure, $594.54 million US dollars. 1. Debt service, $80.90 million. A. Domestic debt, $23.38 million. And B. External debt, $57.52 million. 2. Compensation, $308.3 million. Goods and services, $70.15 million. Grants to governmental and non-governmental service delivery entities, $105.83 million. Subsidy to NGOs complementing the government's effort in strategic service delivery, $3.56 million. Six, social benefits, formal officials, $17.95 million. And 7, non-financial assets, recurring capital, $7.85 million. Public sector investment projects, PSRP. The combination of a constrained resource envelope and enormous demand for recurrent expenditure leaves a very tight fiscal space for allocation for public investment purposes. Against this backdrop, only impactful cross-cutting national programs and projects have been proposed under the Public Sector Investment Program, the PSRP. The table below reflects 5 programs within 3 sectors. 1. The public sector investment projects, $31,034,980 US dollars. Municipal sector, $500,000 United States dollars. Landfill and urban sanitation project, $500,000 United States dollars. Energy and environment sector, $3 million United States dollars. CLSG allocation, $3 million United States dollars. Infrastructure and basic services sector, a total of $27,434,980 United States dollars. On our infrastructure and basic services sector, we have construction of roads and bridges, $3 million United States dollars. Government of Liberia roads obligation, CRAM, $2,714,824 United States dollars. And the National Road Fund, $21,820,156 United States dollars. Conclusion. Mr. President, contemporary members of the Liberian Senate, because the submission of this financial instrument coincides with a period of changeover in administration, I urge you to expeditiously deliberate for timely consideration and passage of this budget into law to enable my successor to have an auspicious beginning of his administration. Kind regards. Sincerely, George Monrovia Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. Attached is the budget. Mr. President, we can
That was the Secretary of the Senate reading the communication attached to the budget of the Republic of Liberia, the 2024 draft national budget.
Because they attach forget this. What is your will of President?
Senator Sir Joseph of Monrovia County will make the motion.
Honorable Protein and fellow colleagues, having listened to the reading of the communication sent to the Honorable Liberian Senate, submitting to this honorable body the budget for fiscal year 2024, I move, if I can obtain a second, that the said communication be received by this honorable body and a copy of the national budget be distributed to all offices of this honorable body. Having said that, if I can obtain second.
All right.
The motion as stated that the communication and the national budget be received by this honorable body and a copy be distributed to all members of this body, and that be forwarded to who? To the committee. Be forwarded to the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance and Judiciary.
Copies made for senators and be forwarded to the committees on ways, means, finance, budget, the PAC, and the judiciary to report
Already.
on certain matters.
Already.
What is the
Already.
Are you ready to vote?
Already.
And the favor of the
Senator J. Nathan TG. J. Nathan TG, who is an outgoing senator, the voter out, is going to make a statement, a job from Senator Dillon, the man is calling that he's not going to be around.
You will be here yourself. No, regarding, I will be ready to vote if the movement will just make this slight adjustment that a report from the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance will be done and submitted to the plenary during the next sitting in the new coming legislature. That's the only adjustment I want to make.
Jimmy, don't be decided because you saw it, but I'm going to come in here like a trade, you know.
They remove from commission.
So what, the board, we're supposed to remove?
I will have ordinarily dropped up my alreadiness, had the alreadiness from Senator T.J. Bank and Little Clara. So I'll be ready to vote for Mr. Movement if you will accept this amendment to the effect that the budget received and defer to the 55th legislature.
That was implied.
He said to the, no, won't be clear.
No, it's
That
implied.
report won't be clear. Like what that, because that what the journal will carry. That we receive their budget today, since the 54th legislature is going, sign that, it be referred and deferred for the 55th legislature. And I will be ready to vote if you accept that amendment to the motion.
Reject that.
I'm ready.
The great errors.
Yeah. Amen.
Members of the 55th legislature having been inducted in office. This body is presently at work, and then this body should take responsibility of their responsibility.
Therefore,
Reject.
the motion will
I reject.
I'm ready.
all right.
That is grand.
No, they play and I clap in it.
If I become the
I know what you're doing. But Maverick.
protect the sewage police movement. Are we ready to vote if you accept that this instrument just received be turned over to the 55th legislature action, and that the current administration, in keeping with the PFM law, apply to 1/12 of the budget, ensure that civil servants are paid for December, and the further action will be taken by the
Budget
next
performance
legislature.
report.
Budget, it will be accompanied by the budget performance report.
Thank you. So,
But
To my learned colleagues, this body received the budget, and this body is still at work, and I think they have a responsibility, and they are ready to implement that, except that the committee report to this body that they are unable, or the leadership. So I therefore reject. Yes.
Protest, distinguished colleagues. Mr. Movement, I will be ready to vote if the Committee on Judiciary can be removed, remain only Ways, Means and Finance and Public Account Expenditure. As usual.
Well, I just wanted to provide the clarification that the body we are talking about has nothing to do with December pay.
But already rejected. Already rejected. So already tell me what December
Yes, I didn't say that.
Even if you say I can clarify, I have the capability to qualify.
I'm ready with a bit of information. Okay.
What is the information?
He said with bill information. The 54 legislature and the 55th legislature have concurrent jurisdiction.
Concurrent jurisdiction?
Yeah, they equal.
They are on a different terms. No, they're right. They're not right.
I will be on the vote and the motion.
No. Correct yourself first with the motion.
Can be received.
No. Correct yourself. Concurrent jurisdiction. Wrong. Very wrong. Concurrent jurisdiction.
All right.
The policy says that.
Jeff told you one to another one. Concurrent jurisdiction.
I sustain.
And it's what? You sustain.
Senators are on the floor. Senators are on the floor. We've been already declared that the draft budget will receive copies made for senators and be transmitted to the committees on the budget and PAC for the report to be presented to senators in the 54th legislature, making known by saying yea. Against. Motion carried. Motion for adjournment.
Senator Brian Gas, has made a motion for reconsideration. The Putin has adjourned this session of the legislature.
Now, why do you want to say that?
And so, folks, the president has submitted the budget, and one of the things that we pick up in that budget
about $17 million is allocated for former government officials, and I know that is going to be part of the major talking point in the country as the day goes by. And there are other issues in the budget. We hope to get a copy of the communication and bring it forth to you. My name is Aaron Kuban, and I see the Vice President-elect Jeremiah Kuhn still attending sessions of the legislature as senator. The vacancy hasn't been announced until he takes a seat as Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. Thanks for following us. Thanks for always being there. We hope to join you, hopefully maybe for another angle of this building or from another place. Goodbye.